Oh, hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome in Fantasy Life right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours, breaking down everything that we saw to the start of the fantasy playoffs. I don't know, Adam. For me, a great weekend. Maybe not for everyone, but we had high-scoring games. We had great games to watch. Once the game was over yesterday, last night, I said to myself, wow, that was a really good weekend. I know, again, we're going to talk about the highs, the lows, the fantasy winners, the fantasy losers, but overall felt like a great weekend. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, I echo those sentiments. Similar for me, for mostly very positive. Now I am holding on to some leads and I am done with players going tonight. So hopefully these guys don't go off, and it's a lower scoring game. It is going to be very cold tonight, as it was across the league yesterday, but. Yeah, overall, it looks like I'll have many teams advancing, barring some crazy high-scoring game
No.
tonight.
Yes, I love it. The one team, Adam, people are waking up like this. Look, the one team, you remember me telling you about my one team that I was really excited about? I said, "Oh, this is my home league. This is with the college buddies. Jahmyr Gibbs, JSN. What could go wrong?" Both. That could go wrong. I'm going to lose this weekend. And it was the same team that I said they went off last weekend. I said, ooh, I do not feel great about this. They scored like 140 plus last weekend. That's the one that I'm looking at of exiting earlier than I wanted to. All the other ones look pretty good though, but that one hurts when you've got the premier guys that helped you get there, and then just both of them. JSN wasn't awful at all, but it was Jahmyr Gibbs that really probably hurt a lot of people this week.
Yeah, again, I've always said it, like, you just can't be worried about what other teams have. I'm sure there are people
Mhm.
that went into this week, looked at their opponent, and said, oh no, I'm going against Gibbs. I am in trouble. And injuries, which we'll get to, happen as well.
Ugh.
So you just can't worry about it. I know sometimes it looks daunting to look at an opponent, but and someone even tweeted at us. Remember, I had said it
Yeah,
didn't matter if you
exactly.
have Kyle Pitts, that you can still win. And the teams, one person said they went 1-1, where they went against Kyle Pitts. So many things could happen. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, it's just weird with him
Every other
because
week. Every other week.
yeah, it's like, what is he trying to be, like Kamani Vidal now or something? Like, what is this? But yeah, like, he's had a 3 touchdown game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, look, he's since week 10, he's had three touchdown games, and the other games he's done zero or very little. I mean, he had 19.6 against the Eagles without scoring a touchdown, 11.6 against the Packers, and then this game against the Rams, 9.8. That's now 3 games this year. He's been under double digits in PPR. So look, you can't complain if you have them. I guess you can this week.
Well, I'm going to. Yeah, watch
I
me.
do have him in a 3 week playoff in the FFWC. So I thought I was like sitting well with him, and to get 9.8 from him, because you're expecting 25 when you have Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes. Yes. Or a nice floor of, 15, 17, right? You'll take that, but that's why you said it. We said it last week as well. You don't give up. I was looking through some of my other scores, and then we'll get to all the injuries that happened, because there were a lot, and that was brutal. But in the stacked league that I'm doing, I saw two teams going up against each other, and one had Kyle Pitts, and the other looks like they're going to win. They've got
St. Brown.
Waddle left to go. Huh?
They have St. Brown,
Oh,
right? The
same.
team going against
No,
Pitts? No?
no, they had Kittle, Evans, Nico Collins, put in Troy Franklin, and then they got 21 from Kyron Williams.
Yeah, I have
That's
Troy
what they gave
Franklin in
up.
my home league, and I had to decide what to do with him. With Pat Bryant out, I did not play him, but he had
Yeah,
a
I
good
don't think I
game.
would have either, to be honest.
I actually played Ricky Pearsall over him.
Ooh, how did
It
that
worked.
go?
Pearsall had a good game.
Oh, did he? I just
Yeah.
remember him going. I just remember
Well,
him
yeah, he got
leaving, and
hurt
I was
twice.
I was rolling my eyes. I was like,
He got
man,
hurt
oh
after
yeah,
his first catch.
15.6,
Yeah, he got hurt
15.6
after
fantasy
his
points.
first catch, and then on his last catch, he got hurt too. And I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
mean,
saying it's the MCL again.
that was going to be a win-win for you, because Troy Franklin had 20. Man, 6 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. Caught also 6 of his targets. We'll talk about that Broncos game, but let us know how you did this weekend. We want to hear. It's an Overreaction Monday. You guys all know that by now. At Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can send in all of your questions, all of your comments, all your screenshots, all your Monday night miracles. I'm pretty much done across everywhere. I've got Jalen Warren in a couple, but I'm kind of, in those ones I'm all set. So we'll see what people need to do to win tonight. We were not winning though, Adam, over the weekend with the injuries. This was absolutely brutal. I can't remember a worse day with injuries that came down. And we can start with the big one is Patrick Mahomes. That's going to be the one that everyone's talking about today, going through this week. So Patrick Mahomes is out for the season with a torn ACL. We always talk about players going down this late in the season, what their recovery is going to look like, if that can line up for week 1 of the 2026 season. But this was a brutal way for the Kansas City Chiefs to basically end their season. So not only did he tear his ACL in the left knee on Sunday, the team is also completely out of the playoffs. So there is absolutely no like, hey, we need to win out, and then this team needs to lose, this team needs to win. They are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So they dropped to 6-8, and that was just a brutal ending to just a bad season for the Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of felt bad. Definitely felt bad.
Yeah, just a miserable season for them, and then to end it late in the game with Mahomes going down,
Yeah.
just awful. So it's real unfortunate. He was having a pretty good fantasy season. Started to struggle a little bit recently because the offensive line just had so many injuries, and this offense wasn't the same. So he's still right now in leagues where 6 points for a passing touchdown. He's actually third in points per game. It kind of doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it because of the recent struggles, but he was able to have a stretch this year where he had a nice string of 3 touchdown passes
Yeah.
consistently. But wow, he finishes the season 3 of his last 4 games, no touchdown passes, and 2 straight games less than 200 yards passing.
Yeah, it was brutal. And last week against Houston, I mean, they completely shut him down. So 6.3 fantasy points. If you had him this weekend, he got you up to 13, but it wasn't what you wanted. And then since they're by, like you said, you've got five touchdown passes, but 4 of those came against Dallas. So when you look at those numbers, that's a little bit inflated there from the 4 in Dallas. And just absolutely brutal again. Tearing an ACL. Posted on X, saying thank you for everything. But the injury kind of just to me, Adam, ended a frustrating season for the Chiefs. It was a culmination of everything. They just couldn't get through. They couldn't win those close games, and in a must-win game, Mahomes, didn't look his best, went down, and the Chiefs are going to be out of the playoffs for the first time since the 2014 season, and they had also won the AFC West every year since 2015. So with the fantasy implications for this, Adam, it's not like we were starting a ton of Kansas City Chiefs players, but there were a handful, right? We talked about Kareem Hunt. We talked about Travis Kelce. Rashee Rice was also another one. So with this injury and him going down, how much do we downgrade the offense? Not only for Patrick Mahomes not being there, but for them also not playing for anything at this point. We haven't been here with the Chiefs. We haven't seen this. What are they going to look like? Are they going to start shutting guys down? Are they going to continue, playing hard? What do you look at with this team?
I'd expect Kelsey to retire this week and not finish the year.
Stop.
Nah.
Get out of here.
Work on that engagement in the wedding plans. That would be my
You're
guess.
horrible.
So they're in Tennessee this week, right? The game total is 37.5. So Gardner Minshew is going to be the quarterback. So at
Yep.
least we know, he can have some success. He was looking at, I think he threw 4 passes. 3 went to Kelsey. So look, tight end is pretty bad. So I think Kelsey and Rice are the 2 guys. You can't start anyone in this backfield. You couldn't do it most of the time with Mahomes back there. We saw a little bit more Isaiah Pacheco in this game. He had 11 carries, only 6 for Kareem Hunt. Forget about them. So yeah, I think it's really Kelsey and Rice, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. And I can't believe we're here, but it was just it's just that's how the cards kind of fell this year, Adam. It was just a total collapse, total fall apart. And you've got a new team looking at the Denver Broncos that are really in that division stepping up. So again, Patrick Mahomes going down with that injury, obviously out for the rest of the season. And we'll see where he's at in his rehab going into the 2026 season. We downgrade almost everyone going into week 17, 16, not 17 yet. So that's just brutal. The other ones I'll just hit on really quickly here because I know we'll go through them in the fantasy life water cooler as well. But just talking through Christian Watson went down this week as well. He went to the hospital precautionary. He was able to fly home with the team, so that was good news. Better than what it started as. You had Davante Adams going down as well with a hamstring injury, and then the big one. I mean, not for us, but the Packers also losing Micah Parsons. That was just a brutal day for them on injuries. So looks like Micah Parsons was believed to have torn his ACL as well. So those were the big 3. I know Puka Nacua went out for a little while. Looks like it was just cramps. He was able to come back in, finish a big day. But Davante Adams and Christian Watson are 2 of the big guys for us in fantasy that once they went down, you could tell that they weren't coming back anytime soon. So that's disappointing.
Yeah, I did see a report right before the show from Ian Rappaport that the injury to Christian Watson is not serious. So
Okay, that's
don't know
good
what
then.
that means if he's going to
All
miss
right.
time. It's a chest injury. So, yeah, that is really unfortunate because I know people are probably like, oh, what do you expect? He's always hurt. I mean, come on. He landed on his chest. He's been playing great. So that's unfortunate. Davante Adams, there's no chance he plays on Thursday. I
No.
know McVay said that you know, Adams was thinking he's okay, but he said that this past week, went out there and aggravated it. So they play Thursday against Seattle, so he's not going to play. And you might not have him for the rest of the fantasy playoffs either.
Ugh,
I don't know if he's
yeah.
going to play week 17. And depending on what happens with the team and the way he feels, maybe they sit him week 18 too. Obviously, they're trying to get that number one seed. But yeah, there's a chance that you don't see Adams the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, it's disappointing. We'll just have to wait, watch the injury reports. He's on a lot of my FFWC teams, so that's just one where you have to look around and say, well, the everything's closed. You can't go to the waiver wire. I've got a waiver wire article live at fantasylife.com. If you guys do have waivers still open, you can go check that out. But anyone that you think is going to step up in this offense, I mean, you said that you were actually able to start Colby Parkinson, and Colby Parkinson was one that really stepped up in this game. 24.5 fantasy points. He had 7 targets, caught 5 of them for 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. One we were talking about before the show started. One, questionable one, but that's okay. And he's actually gotten, upwards of four receptions, 20, 25 plus yards in the last, I want to say 4 games that we've seen him in. So he could be one that maybe you pick up and snag.
He has 6 touchdowns in the last 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 17 targets over the last 3. We know the Rams have been using multiple tight end sets over like the middle of the season they started to. And yeah, he's been more involved in the offense. So it's an explosive offense that's putting up points. You take Davante Adams out, that's a guy that's getting so many targets near the goal line. So it opens it up for Parkinson. So yeah, I do think he's someone that you can add if he's probably still is on the waiver wire.
Sure.
And if you like narratives, he gets a revenge game against his former team this week, which he
Oh,
already did once. He only had 2
gonna
catches,
say
14
anything.
yards in that game, but he did score a touchdown in that game when it was only 21-19. So hopefully we'll get maybe a higher scoring game on a short week. But yeah, I do think Colby Parkinson is someone you could use and certainly helped lead me to a victory unless Darren Waller gets like 45 points tonight.
Well, let's no. I don't. I think you're gonna be fine. That's GST, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. The tight ends for you in that league, Dallas Goedert and Colby Parkinson, leading you to week 15 victories. Who would have thought?
Yeah, just the way I drew it up when I had my
Yeah, just
draft
how you
back in
knew.
August.
You said these are the 2 that are helping me through. Colby Parkinson, I see on Yahoo again. It's different across every league, but only 4% rostered. So he should be one that's available if you're in a tight spot right now with some of these injuries. Davante Adams going down, Christian Watson, maybe someone you pick up and flex. Again, that's a Thursday night game, so quick turnaround there. But maybe, like Adam said, a revenge game. That's going to be a great game, by the way. I was very disappointed with how the Seahawks played this weekend, but in the back of my
Yeah.
mind, I told myself, well, maybe they're saving it for Thursday. I knew they weren't. That was just how they looked. But we'll get to that. The last one I want to make sure we talk about here off the top is Trevor Lawrence. Wow, welcome to the fantasy playoffs, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Adam, he looked so good, and we've been talking about him over the past month, right? We've said, all right, he's heating up, he's looking a lot better, and he absolutely obliterated his previous career best performance for fantasy. Jets, I understand, terrible defense, you don't need to tell us twice. 44.3 fantasy points, though. Remember last week I said, who's the player that could rival what Kyle Pitts did over the weekend? And we really didn't come there. We came up with some names. I will say Trevor Lawrence was not even in the conversation, but he was very close to getting that 45 fantasy points. I guess we'll take 44.3. 5 touchdown passes, 3 of them at least 10 yards downfield, ran for a 15-yard score in the first quarter. And yeah, he looked really good in this game. So again, I understand it was the Jets defense, but shout out to Trevor Lawrence. BTJ found the end zone. Like it was a good day for Jacksonville.
6 total touchdowns for Lawrence
Crazy.
and 51 rushing yards to go with the 330 passing. So it's taken some time, obviously, and we knew it would in the Liam Cohen offense. But there was a stretch there where Lawrence looked bad, and we're like, oh, here we go. It's not going to happen. And it is happening now. So if you were able to stream him, I mean, it worked out for you. Probably a lot of people had him on their bench, but he's got now multiple touchdown passes in 4 straight games. And obviously, that game moves them into the QB1 territory for the season. So it was a slow start, but everything is panning out and going positive for Jacksonville. The addition of Jacoby Myers really helped out.
Oh
He had
yeah.
another good game. And Travis Etienne, 3 receiving touchdowns. Again, another veteran running back that people did not want. He was in the 8th, ninth round of drafts. Everyone was trying to give that backfield to someone else. Even the cries for Bayshell Tootin during the season happened multiple times, and it's been Etienne the entire time. He's got 12 total touchdowns now, so he's been one of the best values in fantasy this year.
For sure. Were you surprised how he got that done, though? 3 receptions, 73 yards, 3 touchdowns. I thought it was going to be on the ground. We had the LG show, and I said 112 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. That was my call, but he had 12 carries, 32 yards on the ground, and then it was the 3 receptions, 73 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's how he got it done, 31.5 fantasy points. I was surprised that's how he did it. I knew a big day was coming. I just didn't know it was going to be through the air.
Yeah, I thought he would do well on the ground too. I was looking at his prop for rushing. Didn't play it, thank goodness, because he went well under. But yeah, look, that's his versatility. He can get it done in a multitude of ways, and he wasn't involved heavily in the pass game the last 2 weeks, and even in this game, only 4 targets. But you could see what he can do, and he's got now at least 19 points of PPR in 4 of the last 5 games.
Yeah, he has been one that's just, if you took him, especially late, he has been helping you. He has been a fantasy hero somewhat for the most of the fantasy season, and definitely the start of the fantasy playoffs. So you think Liam Cohen, overreaction or not, Liam Cohen has fixed Trevor Lawrence? Have we seen it? Have we seen the turn?
I still need to see Lawrence get it done in a big game against a good defense.
How about this week? Broncos.
At Denver? Yeah.
I don't know if I can put him in a QB1 yet. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Against Denver?
Let's see. Mahomes is out, so that eliminates one quarterback, right?
Are the Broncos at home? They're 7-0 at home?
Yeah, I mean, and they are in a position to get the 1 seed with that New England loss. That was massive.
This week they can do that, I believe. I'll have to take a look.
Oh, they might be able to. I mean, they had the tiebreaker to begin with against New England.
Yes.
And New England losing a conference game doesn't help.
Yeah, that loss was big.
And Jacksonville, this is if that Jacksonville loses that game and the Texans win, because I think, don't the Texans have a layup this week again? Yeah, don't they have Arizona?
They have a really
Raiders. Oh my,
there we go.
Come on,
CJ Stroud. We can stream him again. Oh my goodness, yeah, it's another great week of games coming up, but we're not there yet. I'm just looking at Trevor Lawrence. I'm thinking to myself, okay, we just saw it, right? 20 for 32, 330 yards, 5 touchdown passes, 1 on the ground for himself. Gives us the rushing upside. So that's something that we don't usually get with these quarterbacks. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, but 10-4, and they are looking really good under Liam Cohen. After what we saw at the beginning of the year to where we are now, it's a huge turnaround. It's a huge shout out to them and what we've seen. And Trevor Lawrence being a fantasy hero for the first week, we can just say that. We'll see if he's able to hold it through the next 2 weeks, but for the first week, you were absolutely happy to have him. Speaking of which, we're going through overreactions. It is an overreaction Monday here on Fantasy Life. So send us in your overreactions at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. If you've got any sweats tonight, right? We know a lot of you might have to have a Monday night miracle. Send those in as well. We're going to go through some of the overreactions. I want to talk about Bo Nix and what he delivered yesterday. Also want to talk about what the heck happened. The Ravens tight ends. We said, yeah, it's going to be fine. Everything's great. You're going up against the Bengals. Wrong. We're going to break it down here coming up next. Welcome back, everyone, right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM, Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you, hanging out on this Monday, going through overreactions and everything that we saw in Week 15 across the NFL. Adam, I will say, we were talking about Bo Nix. He did deliver. That's not an overreaction. He was able, I had to start him, wasn't necessarily excited. Let's just say that. I said to myself, all right, there's no better options here. I was between Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, and I said, okay, let's go with Bo Nix. Let's see what he can do. 29.08 fantasy points in Week 15 over Green Bay. That was his second highest total of the season. This was one of those teams, Adam, where we said that can he do this? Is he able to do this? This is a test. This is a really good defense. They are playing at home. We know that the Broncos defense is amazing as well. But he actually looked really good. He was it was one of the better games that I think anyone has seen him play this season. You had a lot of guys going around, right? It wasn't just one person. Cortland Sutton, of course, led the team, but it was a lot of guys getting involved in this offense. He threw for 302 yards, career high 4 touchdowns, and wasn't intercepted or sacked a single time. So this was a great showing by Bo Nix.
Yeah, it was because we're used to seeing him putting up these type of numbers against bad defenses like he has this season, and he came through against a solid one here in this game and did spread the ball around like he usually does, but at least it was a little bit more concentrated this week. Sutton getting 10 targets, Troy Franklin getting 6, Marvin Mims getting 6, as Pat Bryant inactive with a hamstring injury. So, yeah, it was a really good performance by Bo Nix here in a big game.
Yeah, it was great. And I was able to start him. 29 fantasy points. Come on. You have to be happy about that. That's not an overreaction. From what we've seen from him, it's great.
Yeah, he played very well. I can't imagine many people did start him, but like you said, in your scenario, I would have done the same. Yeah. Nix over Caleb Williams. I would have benched Caleb Williams in a lot of spots as well.
Yeah. Who did you didn't have to play Caleb Williams this week?
Oh, I did. In GST, I had to because waivers is closed, and I have Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, so I have no choice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You don't have a third? Choice. No, I'm just kidding.
I almost, because I had Mariota, and I was like, should I keep 3? Right. And I was like, I'll just get Jaden Daniels. He'll be fine. Yeah.
Famous last words. That's what happens. I mean, with the Packers, is it an overreaction to say? I don't know how much I've been thinking about the Packers and saying, well, they're being able to have that team and go to a Super Bowl. But I don't think it's an overreaction to say their injuries right now, Adam, might have ended their chances at a Super Bowl run, or at least knocked them down a few pegs, right? Because 34-26 loss to the Broncos, that hurts because it's a late season loss. Not only that, but we talked about the injuries that they had. Micah Parsons is going to be out the rest of the year. You saw what happened. LaFleur said it doesn't look good when asked about the injury. So once we get that absolutely confirmed, it's going to be a huge absence over the remaining weeks for them. And it did feel like a group that was, preparing to play well in this playoff push. But with him going down, you said before the show started that Christian Watson, maybe it's not as bad as it looked. I know he spent a few hours in the hospital, was actually able to fly home with the team. But it's one of those things where when you have key players go down like that, but especially Parsons, and for what Christian Watson's been able to give this team since he's returned from his injury, those are 2 big losses. Even if they're without Watson for a couple weeks, that's still going to sting.
And they have a short week as well. They play Saturday night against the Bears in a massive game because now, again, as we've seen, these teams have exchanged going from 1 to 7 the last 2 weeks as, the Bears not won, but they are now leading the division, and the Packers dropped to 7. So, yeah, if the Packers lose this week, boy, then they're in a big heap of trouble. Yeah,
definitely a tough spot there. Another overreaction. What the heck happened to the Ravens? Tight ends? Hello? Did they not get the memo? No, I'm kidding.
I know. This was crazy because the Bengals have just been getting destroyed by tight ends this year, allowing 97 yards per game, over 10 targets. We see it every week, and these 2 tight ends both had success against the Bengals 2 weeks ago. But when your quarterback completes 8 passes and you run 37 plays, they ran 40, but the last 3 were kneel down, so they technically ran 37 plays. No one's going to have success. It was a weird game where they just didn't have the ball much. And when Cincinnati had it, they couldn't do anything with it or turned it over. But, yeah, I know everyone's upset because they probably played Likely or Andrews. Andrews had 3 targets, 2 for 18. Likely didn't even get a target. But, again, Lamar Jackson completed 8 passes. So no one is going to have success when that happens. I mean, Lamar did come through for fantasy because he had 2 touchdowns, only 150 passing yards, did rush for 26. If you use Derrick Henry, I mean, he didn't find the end zone, but 11 for 100. And then Zay Flowers actually came through, even though he had another touchdown dropped another pass. He had 3 for 68 and a touchdown. But, yeah, it's really difficult for anyone to have success when your quarterback completes 8 passes and you run 37 plays. Like, if you just read that box score to people, they'd be like, "Oh, the Ravens lost, right?" Nah, they won 24-0.
No, they won. It's fine.
They had the ball for 20 minutes and 41 seconds.
That's insane. Did they really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Attempting 12 passes. Mark Andrews getting 3.8 fantasy points, caught 2 of his 3 targets for 18 yards. Isaiah Likely didn't even have a single target. I had to look back. I said, "Is he okay? Maybe I missed a pregame, maybe a pregame injury." No, it was just just how they, I guess, drew it up. So unfortunately, it didn't really ease worries for fantasy managers, I will say. I think but Lamar Jackson, he only had like 14 points, right, in this game?
He had two. Well, it depends on your score. He had
Well,
two
I guess
touchdown passes.
I'm looking
So
at ESPN scoring, 14.6 fantasy points
yeah,
in
in
that
leagues
one.
with 6 points for a pass touchdown, he had
Okay,
19.6.
got it. That's a big difference between
Yeah,
those
it's
scoring
just
formats.
again like there's nothing you can do in that
No.
situation. Sometimes, look, and it sucks, right? If you lost your first round, you don't want to hear it because you're going home. But looking at the plays run and time of possession matters. It's hard for any team to have success when you have the ball for 21 minutes and you run 37 plays. You're just going to have disappointments across the board.
We've got breaking news here looking at the Jets. So we just talked about Trevor Lawrence, the great day he had, right? Saying, okay, it was the Jets defense. Aaron Glenn has fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. So looks like Glenn made the announcement at his news conference just today, just a few minutes ago, after a performance where Trevor Lawrence looked really good. We talked about that. We kind of broke that down already, but it was bad. And we always say this. We say, okay, this quarterback had a great performance, but it was the Jets defense. So they're moving away from Steve Wilks there.
Didn't he come out and support him yesterday?
I thought, you know what? I'm glad you said it because I thought the same thing, but I didn't want to say it out loud because I figured I was wrong.
Oh boy.
They don't have an interception on the season.
I know, that is insane. Like by accident, a tip pass. Like, come on.
I know. We could do that. I think we could accidentally get an
Yeah, he did
interception
back
early.
him yesterday. I know I saw those comments.
Well,
He said, I want him to. This is quotes from yesterday. I want him to run his
things
system.
change.
It's not about the X's and O's. I brought Wilkes in for a reason. I want him to run this system.
Well,
Well, I guess other people
life
said no.
happens. Life happens fast, Adam.
Yeah,
So again,
really fast.
Steve Wilkes is. We don't want anyone losing their jobs. But man, that game against Jacksonville, they made Trevor Lawrence look really good. So Steve Wilkes fired in that one, and so again, the Jets, they're just trying to put up points, right? It wasn't as bad actually as I thought it would be. To be honest, it was still pretty bad with their backup quarterback in there. But we're still not playing basically anyone from this team, right? This doesn't change your mind about that?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
think you can.
Mitchell.
I
No.
mean, Mitchell did get the targets. I mean, Brees Hall wanted no part of. He also had the
Yeah.
knee issue going into the week, and you knew that it wasn't going to be good. And I guess maybe Mitchell, even then, I have him in one league and I did not start him.
Yeah, I didn't either. So again, Wilkes fired there. The last one here for Overreaction Monday, and I'm seeing your overreactions come in as well, and your Monday Night Miracles that you need. So at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. No matter the matchup, you start Jacoby Brissett. I feel like that's not an overreaction anymore. Is that just something we have to be doing against the Texans? It was we broke this down though. We said, okay, Texans are more than likely going to put up a big lead or a big enough lead where Jacoby Brissett and this team are just going to try and chip away at them during this game. And so that's kind of how it looked. The Texans had a 30-7 lead late in the third quarter, I believe, at one point, 40-20 win. But Jacoby Brissett 3 touchdown passes, 249 yards. Trey McBride went off. Thank you, Trey McBride in the GST. That's how I'm staying alive here. But it just doesn't even feel like an overreaction. Maybe we just have to start Jacoby Brissett everywhere, no matter the matchup.
Well, I think we were anyway to
Yeah.
begin with. I think this was the week if you were contemplating you might have went in a different direction or definitely had him lower in the rankings. I don't think anyone had him ranked as a top 12 quarterback this week going up against that Texans defense that allowed the fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position and didn't allow any quarterback to throw for more than 2 touchdowns. So Brissett is the first one. But if you were looking at it and said, okay, how can this pan out? You were saying the same thing that you just described. All right, well, they're going to get down big and they're going to continue to just pile up the pass attempts. And he had 40 pass attempts. And even Michael Wilson, it wasn't as good as it was recently, but we knew he's going to get the targets. And he was second on the team with 11 targets, and he was 5 for 54 and a touchdown. You will absolutely take that. You would have signed up for that to start the week if someone
Yeah.
said, because I'm going to start Michael Wilson. And I think pretty much we said it like, look, if you have Wilson, you got to start him. We went through like all the receivers in that area that have question marks. And yes, it was a tough matchup, but you just put him out there. And if this worked out, I mean, you can't be upset with 16.4. But yeah, Jacoby Brissett's pretty much been a QB1 every week that he has started this year. So yeah, I think he's shown, and I think he's been like the third quarterback in scoring in fantasy since week 6.
He's got to
So,
be. I mean, his floor is 18 fantasy points.
and look at the games the next 2 weeks: home to the Falcons and at Cincinnati.
Oh
So, I
yeah.
mean, at Cincinnati, all you got to do is worry about weather, but those are two really good matchups. So he gets the Rams in week 18, but most of us are not playing week 18 fantasy. But yeah, the next 2 weeks he's in.
League winner, Jacoby Brissett.
Look, he
Waiver
could
wire,
be.
waiver wire hero, Jacoby
He
Brissett,
is. He
maybe.
actually is. He's there. I
That's
could
from
see
week
some
6.
teams. I could
I
see
like
some teams rolling with him as
for
their
sure.
quarterback for most of the season.
Especially if you had Kyler, right? And then you just said, well, Kyler's down, don't know how long he's going to be down for. Turns out it's the whole season. But yeah, I mean, since week 6, he hasn't scored less than 18.6 fantasy points in those games since week 6. They had a bye in week 8. It's just been phenomenal. It like Gene Clemens likes to say, you guys have your show on Sunday mornings. Brissett it and forget it. I might be there. Now against the Texans, I said, oh, I have to downgrade him quite a bit here just because of this Houston Texans defense. They've faced good teams. They've held good quarterbacks to just not good fantasy days. We saw it from Jacoby Brissett. So shout out to him and Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. Maybe he's just playing well enough that they just say, why don't you stick around? Nah, they're losing. I always forget that in fantasy.
Yeah,
I'm
they
just like,
keep
oh,
losing
he's
games.
playing so well, and they're like, no, he's not. And we're losing these games, and we're like, well, we're winning in fantasy. So it's kind of how we talked about Justin Fields for the past couple of years. We're like, he's not good, but he's good for us in fantasy. So makes a little bit of a difference here. We're gonna keep going. Overreaction Monday. I see some Monday Night Miracles that you guys need, so we are definitely going to get to those. Who buried you though in the fantasy playoffs? We're gonna go through the players that did not show up for you in week 15. We're gonna do that here coming up next. What a great song. Great vibes. Unless you're losing, then not great vibes. But you win some, you lose some, Adam. I'm going to be out in one definitely this week, which is just so annoying. My Jameer Gibbs JSN team. The one I've been most proud of this year.
That's how it goes sometimes. You feel like you have these stud players and they come up a little short in a key playoff week, and then that's it. It's over just like that. That's why it really is very difficult to win a fantasy football championship because you need everything to break right. You have to avoid major injuries, which was a factor this week. I had a team that had Woody Marks and Devin Neal on it. And
I thought of you when Devin Neal went down. I was like, oh no.
yeah, I am up by looks like 55, and they have Achane, Gainwell, and Boswell. So I'm scared of Achane though.
Achane could go off. Yeah. Did you have Bam Knight too in one?
Oh yeah, the GST I got a 0.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, I can't believe you're winning with a 0 on there. That's just insane. Shout out to Colby Parkinson.
I have no running, but if Bam Knight is out next week, like I'm probably gonna have to start like Ollie Gordon or Pacheco. And I just said I can't start Pacheco, so.
Wow, you might have to start. You might have to take that back and start Pacheco. We'll just say that. But speaking of who buried you in the fantasy playoffs, we're talking about this segment fueled by the bold flavors of Mike's Hard Lemonade, the official drink of those who go hard for their league and the ones that maybe go home. And we're talking about the ones that went home here, Adam, because it was not fun. Let's start with one Quinshon Judkins, who definitely buried me in a couple. He was one that the negative game script did affect his opportunities. Right, it was week 15 game in this one, and it was kind of a blowout to the Bears. So Cleveland turned the ball over 3 times, and Judkins only got you 4.7 fantasy points. A little bit inefficient when you look at it. When he was getting his touches, he rushed for only 21 yards on 12 carries, 1.8 yards per carry there, and he didn't get anything in the receiving game either. So that was to me disappointing. If you've been holding on to Quinshon Judkins, still playing him, which I think a lot of people have, 4.7 fantasy points in week 15 is just not going to do it for you.
He did have 3 catches. They went for -4 yards though.
Thanks.
So
yeah.
And that's the problem. Well, he's been a little bit more involved in the passing game lately. There was no Dylan Sampson.
Yep.
So you were looking at it and you go, okay, he's going to get massive volume. But unfortunately, the offensive line, too, they had 4 starters missing. Their offensive line was decimated. Sanders was sacked 5 times, threw 3 interceptions. So, yeah, it was a disaster across the board. I mean, the only guy that really came through was Harold Fannin, who had 14 targets,
Insane.
only caught 7, but for 48 yards. So in a PPR, 11.8, you'll take it. But, yeah, Judkins definitely let a lot of people down because you're playing him based on the volume. and the offense just could do nothing, only putting up 3 points. So, yeah, that really hurt. I mean, his longest run was 4 yards.
Yeah, it was a bad day. And shout out to the Bears, 31-3 in that win. If anyone wants to see all the breakdowns from the weekend, you can go to fantasylife.com. Adam's got his article up. One thing we learned from every week 15 game. It's a great article that you guys need to go check out, 100% free. But shout out to the Bears for that. We're going to be talking about them here in a little bit as well. But yeah, Quinshon Judkins was one that buried you. Send us the guys that hurt you as well at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. I think Lad McConkey, I want to include in this, right? I think people are still playing Lad McConkey, of course, because he's the wide receiver one on this Chargers team, and Quentin Johnston was sidelined in this game. So you could have thought to yourself, all right, perfect. So the Lad McConkey in this game with no Quentin Johnston, the Kansas City Chiefs. It didn't happen though. He scored only 4 fantasy points, 3 targets. And I know some people were writing up, he was struggling in man coverage. But it's the second week that he's been really held in check. And this is one where maybe it gets better. Week 16, they do face, I believe it's Dallas, right? They get Dallas this week. So you're still going to look at him and start him. The Cowboys are at home in this one, but man, you can't getting that few fantasy points, 4 fantasy points on 3 targets. Brutal day for Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I think it's just this offense right now. Herbert dealing with the hand injury. It's been a struggle, and they do have several weapons. So even with taking Quentin Johnston out, Trey Harris stepped in, got 5 targets. Gaston had 5 targets. Keenan Allen had 7. So we've said it, like when you have all these weapons, you just can't produce every week. And they haven't been putting up a lot of points lately. We knew this was not going to be a high-scoring game. It had a low total. Defensive battle here between these teams. The Chargers only put up 16 points. But yeah, if there's any week that these receivers go off, it's next week against Dallas. They cannot cover anyone. I mean, even JJ McCarthy was carving them up.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy, you guys made JJ look pretty good.
They've made every quarterback they face look good this year.
Can we say another team that I will say team as a whole? Can we just say the Raiders? Just every single time it feels like it's not every single time, but they fell flat against the Eagles. I don't know what our expectations were going into it. It wasn't like we said Genty was going to get, 25 plus fantasy points, but Ashton Genty, 8.2 fantasy points. He had 9 carries for 35 yards, 4 receptions for 7 yards off 6 targets. And then, it was Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is the other guy that we just say, well, it's Bowers. He's got elite traits. He still looks good, but 8.8 fantasy points. That was his lowest outing since week 10 against Denver. So just the Raiders as a whole feel like you're burying fantasy teams.
Yeah, those are the only 2 guys you're starting. And with Genty, look, we knew he wasn't going to do much on the ground. What's been saving him has been his involvement in the passing game. And you figured, all right, they're definitely playing from behind. Hopefully he can catch 6-7 passes. It was only 4 for 7 yards. So that sucked. And then Bowers, too, just 6 for 28. I mean, Kenny Pickett threw for 64 yards in this game. So it was an obvious bounce-back spot for Philadelphia. Hey, and if you use their defense in fantasy, you got the shutout, which is always massive.
There we go. That was nice. Did you have them?
I did.
I was obviously.
GST,
can you tell I was?
Defense.
Can you tell I was looking through your team to see what was happening here? I was pretty jealous of your outing, but yeah, it's just bad. And next week it doesn't get any better because they face the Texans.
So are we benching both guys next week, Genty and Bowers?
I'm not.
I mean, it's hard to bench Bowers.
Is it? I mean, it is. This was his worst outing, like I said, since week 10.
Yeah, at least. I mean, it was. I guess if it's Kenny Pickett, maybe that changes things. Yeah. I mean, I know Geno Smith hasn't been great, but again, that is one of the worst offensive lines. Like everyone's gonna crap on Genty and be like, "Oh, why'd you take a rookie so early?" This is an offensive line issue.
Oh, for sure. It's one of the worst offensive lines. I was talking with Gene Clemens about it. And again, you guys do your Sunday shows, which everyone should check out. But one of the worst offensive lines we've seen. And so that doesn't help him at all. I'm with you on Bowers at least. I think that you still play him because again, unless it's I guess Kenny Pickett.
I mean, he had 8.8. I mean, again, it's not when you drafted Bowers, that's not what you're expecting, but a tight end getting 8.8 is like a decent week.
Benching Genty though?
You might have to, man. I got some questions this week where there were some comparable running backs you could have gone with. Again, I don't like saying in general, bench this guy. Because, it all depends on who you're comparing to. But he's definitely going to be ranked the lowest he has all season this week against the Texans.
For sure. Let's continue on here. Again, that was Go Hard or Go Home. We talked through the players that went home, presented here by Mike's Hard Lemonade. We're going to go through some true or false questions, just talking about Travion Henderson. Every Chiefs player, maybe they should be on the bench with Patrick Mahomes not able to play for the rest of the season. Brian Thomas Jr., is he back? We're going to break that down here coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Overreaction Monday at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, where you can send all your questions in because the water cooler is coming up. We'll open up the phone lines as well and go through some of those questions here. I see one that I definitely want to get to though, from Bill. I'm up 10.13. My opponent has a Warren going tonight, half point PPR. What are the chances? Up 10.13. With Warren.
If Warren doesn't score a touchdown, I think he's good. Half point PPR, like Warren has been less involved in the passing game lately. It's been a lot more Kenneth Gainwell, right? I mean, Warren has the ability to break off a long reception, which he did last week. He had a 38-yard reception last week, but he's had 3 targets, 4, 0, 2, 2, 2. So I think that's a strength of his. I would like to see him more involved in the passing game, and Miami's been better against the run lately. So he's got a shot. He just needs Warren to avoid scoring. And Warren has scored a touchdown now in 3 straight games. Yeah,
he has. And the last time he scored under 10 was against Cincinnati, actually surprisingly. He had 8.7 in that game, but that's kind of his average, right? Is 10 to 12 fantasy points. So it's his highs are really, he's not even reaching 20 fantasy points even in his best outings. Again, the other one was Indianapolis first, 16 carries, 31 yards. He got 17 there. He got 19 against Cincinnati week 7, but he's not one that's usually hitting, big home runs, right? 20, 25 fantasy points. We don't see it from him, especially with emergence, I don't think is the right word, but Kenneth Gainwell has been one that they continue to utilize. And I just keep going back to that game, Adam, where it was the international game. And they used Kenneth Gainwell a lot because it was Jaylen Warren with a really late scratch, like minutes beforehand. Hurt a lot of people because he just, some people, myself included, had him in lineups ready to go. But Kenneth Gainwell has still been involved, especially like you said, in the passing game. He gets the receiving work. I'm looking at the last 4 games, 7 receptions,
24 targets the last 4 games.
Yeah, he's the one that's actually getting up closer to 20 fantasy points. Not every single outing, but 29, 18, 6, and 16 for the last 4 games. He's had a really nice stretch since week 11.
Yeah, he really has. So I think with Warren, if he doesn't score a touchdown, I think he wins. If he gets a touchdown, he won't. I know it sounds pretty simple, but it's the truth. When you look at his volume and how Gainwell's more involved in the passing game.
Yeah, I agree on that one. It's gonna be a sweat, just like we have Adam here sweating 44 points from Darren Waller.
Don't even joke about that.
You're gonna be fine. We should clip this though, in case you're not.
I will not be here if Darren Waller puts up 45 tonight.
To work tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't. I'd be too depressed. I probably wouldn't sleep the whole night, so I'd be.
Well, you don't do that anyway.
Yeah, so but I'd have no sleep. Just be with images of Darren Waller taunting me.
I'd get you a Waller jersey. How about that? I'd get you a Waller jersey if he was the reason that you got eliminated from this week. It's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
I mean, no one thought Kyle Pitts was gonna put up 100 this week, so.
We did have him projected for a.
No, we did. I mean,
I had him as tight end 5.
Yeah, he was a great play this week because no Drake London, and also the matchup too. You have to throw against Tampa.
True or false? Because we think that Trevor Lawrence has been fixed and maybe turned a corner. Brian Thomas Jr. is back in the conversation. You can start him with confidence in the fantasy playoffs. Please say yes. No.
I don't know. No, I think you can. I did start him in a league. I think you did too, right?
Well, I had to.
Yeah.
And then
look,
him over Alec, because Alec Pierce I downed.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. Look, it's 13 targets since he's come back. They're taking shots to him more downfield. He's got a 39-yard reception in each of the last 2 games. The offense is clicking. It is a tougher matchup this week, though. They're at Denver. So does Surtain shadow him? Probably, right?
Probably. Unless they go for, probably. Now that I'm thinking about it.
So that would not be good. You got to hope it's Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby's been better, so maybe they do go, right? I mean, they'd probably have to go for Jacoby. He's been the one for them. He's got this past week against New York was the first time he hasn't scored since week 11. And he's been coming down he's gotten the targets, he gets the receptions. Yeah, I think they might go for him. So you say
Yeah, and
true?
so it's a tough matchup there in Denver.
No. It'll be a fun game though, or I hope it'll be a fun game. Denver at home is just absolutely lethal. They haven't lost yet this year at home.
Yep, 7-0.
We'll see how it goes here. We're going to continue on. You know what time it is. It is time for that fantasy life water cooler. So not only are we going through all the pieces of news, all the notes that you might have missed here throughout the practices going into this week and the games yesterday, but we are also taking your phone calls, taking your questions as well. If you need a Monday Night Miracle, let us know. I see some screenshots coming in as well. An Overreaction Monday. We are so excited to be talking with you guys here. So we're going to go through news and notes, fantasy life water cooler coming up here next. It is about that time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. We're going through all the pieces of news that you might have missed over the weekend and, of course, taking your questions and phone calls. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. You can also find us at Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, and we will be getting to those questions as well. Monday Night Miracles that you need, any questions that you have going into Week 16, we are absolutely here to help. How about some bad news to start? Well, this kind of the whole water cooler, I'm not gonna lie, Adam, there's a lot of bad news here. But I will say for anyone with Jaylen Warren tonight, don't want to overreact to this yet, but the Steelers have now added running back Jaylen Warren to the injury report for tonight's game due to an illness, and they are listing him as questionable. Again, day of, we don't love to see Adam. Usually we see it the day before, a couple days before. They say, he's sick. So we're just going to monitor that. But day of is not necessarily the best place for him to have that questionable tag. It looks like it's an illness, so we'll see closer to game time if he's good to go.
And it's very cold, so that doesn't help. It's going to be 20 degrees, it looks like, tonight in Pittsburgh. He has
the sniffles already. It's going to be,
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe he fights through it. We've seen a lot of players pop up on the injury report this weekend. We had several like the day before. Christian McCaffrey, Emmanuel Wilson with an illness as well.
That one freaked me out. CMC did. I went to see if Brian Robinson Jr. was floating around anywhere.
Yeah, he's not.
He wasn't. No.
Yeah, he's rostered in every league. So, yeah, you just got to, if you have Jaylen Warren, you're just hoping that he can gut it out tonight. If not, then Kenneth Gainwell will get a bigger workload.
Gainwell season. Caleb Johnson? Back for the fit now.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say it here. So again,
talk about one of the worst picks this year in fantasy. That guy was going in the 5th, 6th round.
He was going ahead of Jaylen Warren.
He was in many drafts. Yeah, it started to change. Didn't it start to change though, like the last week or two before the season?
Yeah, but that one I don't really count that. Like he was going for months ahead of him. That has to. I don't even think it's close. I think he is the worst pick. Brian Thomas Jr. was up there, but that's because
yeah, but I know it was I guess we look at it differently because it's a first round pick and your expectations change, but at least he's doing something now. Like Caleb Johnson has not done a damn thing 1 week this season.
Where is he? Where is he? I don't know.
Where is he ranked? 187th?
No, I'm like, where is he? Where's he been? I don't know, but yeah, that's got to be the worst pick of the season, and I don't even know if it's particularly close. But again, Jaylen Warren added to the injury report, questionable for tonight's game due to an illness. We hope that it's just something that he can get through this morning and be good to go for Monday Night Football. More injury news that we talked about here. Just an update on Christian Watson, but he did go down in yesterday's game. He was transported to the hospital, was able to fly home with the team. I saw Rob Domofsky post an update here just about an hour ago saying that there is no issue with the lungs for Christian Watson. Went to the hospital in Denver for a CT scan as precautionary. He does not have a long-term injury. Status for Saturday. Saturday's game. Oh, man, I forgot.
2 games on Saturday.
This is really flying by. I can't believe we're here already. But Saturday's game against the Bears will be determined later this week. So, again, you hope that he's good to go because Christian Watson's been one down the stretch here, Adam. That's just been another kind of hero for you. If you picked him up off waivers, which I think most people did, I don't imagine that people were drafting Christian Watson at the end of their drafts, even in those high stakes leagues. But since he's come back in week 8, he's really put up great days for you. So they take on, again, Chicago. They're at Chicago in this one on Saturday. If he's not good to go, are you kind of looking around and upgrading a Romeo Doubs, a Jaden Reed in this situation? Because I feel like those two are going to have to be the ones that step up in his absence if he can't go.
Yeah, probably Jaden Reed. Right, we've seen him already come back and have be involved in the passing game. We know they're still going to spread it out, but take Watson away. Yeah, I think it could open it up a little bit for Jada Reed. Dobbs is on the field a lot, but there are
Yeah.
times that he just doesn't get targeted. Your guy, Matthew Golden, 4 targets,
I
3
saw
for
him yesterday. I said,
55.
whoa, there. I said, there he is. It's like that meme pointing at the TV. I'm not putting any faith in Matthew Golden.
Yeah, it's
That's another.
in a
Maybe he's up there
semifinals
too.
week.
He's up there too as one of the worst picks this year.
Yeah,
He
he
took me
was
in a lot of places.
round 8, round 9, but he started to move up. He was getting a lot
for
of
sure.
helium late in draft season.
That's a bad one, but better news than what I might have expected for Christian Watson there. So we'll have to watch the injury reports going into the weekend, see where he's at. Bam Knight, he was carted off Sunday with an ankle injury. He suffered what is being described as a quote bad sprain, Adam. So nothing is broken, according to Adam Schefter. He's going to undergo an MRI today to confirm all the diagnosis and everything like that. He is unlikely to play, though, this week. So if you have Bam Knight, I know you do, Adam. Waivers might be closed for some of you. If they're not, you have to go look somewhere else. It's Michael Carter then, right?
Michael Carter,
backfield. Yeah. That's it. Amari DiMercato.
He came back, but he only had 3 touches.
I think
Carter played 79% of the snaps.
How rostered do you think Michael Carter is right now, though? I feel like because of all their injuries, he's not. Oh, actually, okay. Well, according to Yahoo, he's only 5% rostered. Michael Carter is. So,
I actually did pick him up in a league this week,
to
put him on the bench. No, there was not. No, so we have like IR, and I put forgot who. Oh, T Higgins, and I'm always going to look for running backs.
Yeah.
I went down the list and I was like, damn, there's no one here. I'm like, well, Michael Carter, just in case. So picked him up.
That's a good pickup. So again, he is unlikely to play this week, talking about Bam Knight for the Arizona Cardinals, per Adam Schefter. So turn any other direction that you can. And if Michael Carter is floating around out there, then he is definitely one that you can go and pick up. If you're looking for early waiver wire names to know, fantasylife.com. That's where you can go and check it out. My article is live and 100% free over there. So go and check out some of those names. I'll be updating them after the game tonight as well. The big one yesterday going into this week, Adam, is going to be Patrick Mahomes. I know we hit on that at the top of the show, but let's just hit it again, hash it out again. Patrick Mahomes suffers a torn ACL in their loss to the Chargers, season ending, obviously, in that left knee. Which it was just the closing moments of that game. They lost 16-13. They have no chance at the playoffs, mathematically eliminated, which is crazy, Adam, because when we've talked about the Chiefs every single year for the last however many handful of years, it's always been, okay, they're going to the playoffs. They've won the AFC West every year since 2015. They've made the playoffs. This is actually the first time they won't be in the playoffs for the first time since 2014. So how much are we, again, downgrading this team without Patrick Mahomes out there? They do have a favorable matchup, right? I think it's just the question of, what does this team look like when they have nothing to play for? Are they still going to go out there and play hard? And that's no diss on them. It's just they haven't been here. We haven't seen this kind of Chiefs team that's been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So they take on the Tennessee Titans. That is a very favorable matchup. Are you downgrading, keeping the same, or trying to stay away from these Chiefs players? Really, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Kareem. We'll throw Kareem Hunt in there, right?
I think you have to downgrade them because the offensive line was bad to begin with. They had a lot of injuries. So Mahomes and his ability to be mobile and extend plays gave receivers time to get open more. You're not going to have that with Gardner Minshew. So at least he's a veteran. He's been around. So I think with Rice, you're still going to play him, but you have to lower expectations. This was a guy that a lot of people felt was going to be a league winner. And it looked like that when he first came back. And he slowed down a little bit, and you can't expect the offense to put up a lot of points. They've been struggling to begin with. Kelce was getting targets from Minshew, only threw 5 passes. I think 3 or 4 went in the direction of Kelce, so we'll probably look for him. So those are the only 2 guys to me that you would start. I don't think you can touch this backfield. Kareem Hunt's been a volume play, and then this week we saw more Isaiah Pacheco. He had 11 carries. Kareem Hunt had 6. Again, against Tennessee, maybe they could put up points. So maybe this is a week that they can. Tennessee's not trying to win games. But then, good luck, Netflix. Christmas night, Chiefs versus Broncos. Yeah, how many people are tuning in for that now with no Mahomes? Right?
All those games I feel like are, well, let me look through the Christmas.
Yeah, Cowboys, Washington, and the Cowboys. If Philadelphia wins on Saturday, Cowboys are done. They're eliminated. So that game would mean nothing. And what was the middle game? Detroit, Minnesota, right? Yeah. That game might mean nothing too.
It's
It's a divisional game. Detroit's fun to watch. Minnesota's still playing. They want to develop J.J. McCarthy, so
And then
maybe that one. But
Broncos Chiefs at home. That's Thursday night.
well,
Christmas
don't
night.
worry because we got NBA on Christmas.
Oh, there we go.
So
It
so the
was
same
not
time
good.
that the Broncos and Chiefs are playing, we got Rockets, Lakers, and Minnesota,
There we
Denver.
go.
There
we go. That's what you need. Wow, two
Then
Denver
again, it's
teams playing on
championship week
Christmas?
though. It's championship week, so
Yeah, everyone's tuning in. Come on. You're
nah,
gonna tune in.
nah. I think it's gonna lose ratings. I really do. With no Mahomes and Kansas City playing for nothing, that game loses a lot of juice.
You think the whole day though? You think the whole day loses ratings because of those games?
It
I
could.
think we're kind of sickos though.
We are, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, you're
it's
right, you're right.
Christmas and people with family and,
Well, Commanders, especially, I mean, if they shut Jaden Daniels down, right? You get Marcus Mariota there.
yeah.
It's not necessarily a draw. JJ McCarthy with the Vikings, yeah.
But again, though, it is championship week, so people will have fantasy championships on the line. And we know a lot of people have Cowboys and Lions.
Yeah.
But then again, by the Chiefs, I guess people will still have Rice and Kelsey. It is a divisional game, but they're, like you said, they're not used to playing spoiler. How are they going to handle that? Like,
Nope.
Atlanta was up for playing spoiler this past week. That was the epitome of like, we are going to ruin your season. So credit to them. They did that. The Saints did that yesterday too against Carolina because no one wants to win that division. So yeah, the Chiefs are in a different spot. They are not used to this. So how do they handle it?
And we'll have to see how they handle it too. It'll be interesting to say the least here. Again, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. I see some questions coming in, so we are definitely going to get to those. Just the last on the injury news. Again, we mentioned Christian Watson. Chest injury looks like it's not as serious as we once thought it could be. Packers really lost key players though. Micah Parsons believed to have torn his ACL, so he's going to be out for the remainder of the year. And then the other one for fantasy is Davante Adams. Injured his hamstring. You could see if you were watching that play, he pulled up and you knew immediately because I screamed. Adam and I said, no, please don't do this to us. But hopefully Davante Adams is able to get healthy. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking at Davante Adams right now, obviously Thursday feels like a long shot because it's a short week. Hamstring injury for receivers any age, but Davante Adams' age especially, coming back from something that's already been kind of aggravating him and holding him back a little bit this season. I know that McVay said they're optimistic about the injury. I don't necessarily believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, when they say that he's going to be good to go out there, but I would be shocked if he could play Thursday.
He's not playing Thursday, and I don't know if he plays in week 17 for your fantasy championships either. So
It's bad.
yeah, unfortunately, he got you here. He's been great. He scores touchdowns almost every single week, but that did not look good. And we know he was on the injury report this week with a hamstring issue and got through most of the game.
He's got some extra time. I can already tell that this is just going to be
Right, because
Rams
week
play
17 is Monday
17,
night
Monday
game.
night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if one extra day is going to do it for a hammy.
Yeah, it's just brutal because of what Davante Adams has been able to bring you this season. So we'll watch the injury reports, but definitely week 16, and that's the Thursday night game going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Our Seattle Seahawks, right, Adam? Our Seattle Seahawks this week?
Yeah,
No?
I guess,
Come on.
yeah. I'll be
Come
rooting
on.
for them.
Yeah, see, I root for the Cowboys all the time.
Yeah, that's worked out really well. Thanks for bringing the good vibes.
Well, at least I get, at least I root for them, right? When we know that they're probably not going to win those games.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I'll say the Rams did clinch a playoff berth. They can keep with it. They kept hold of the number one seed, 41-34 win over the Lions. We talked about Puka Nacua looked good in this game, right? Career high, 181 yards, 9 catches, and then 2 carries for 8 yards. The other
Can he go
side,
one game without getting banged up or wincing in pain?
No, of course not. Well, I was so nervous when I saw him because he was getting held, carried off, and I said, "Oh, here we go." There's
said
both
it was
of those guys.
Cramps. And then after that happened, they give him a carry on 3rd and 6. I'm like, what are you doing?
I saw that. I don't know. Amon-Ra St. Brown, at least he was terrific. Jahmyr Gibbs, we won't mention because that is probably set. Jameson Williams too, 7 receptions, 134 yards and a touchdown there. That's also how I lost. I was facing Jameson Williams. So.
Hey, look, JMO has been a source of frustration throughout the year. He's given us many zeros, including one recently against the Giants. But pretty much since the play calling has shifted over to Campbell, J-Mo's been really consistent. This
Yeah.
is now at least 88 yards in 5 of the last 6 games and 3 games of at least 119 yards in that span. So this is what people were hoping for when they drafted Williams in the, 5th round is generally where you
Mhm.
saw him. And again, it's been a bumpy ride to get there, but if you were able to survive all the goose eggs and the 1-for-9s, he could lead you to a fantasy championship.
Definitely could. At K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there. If you want to check out all of the other injury news, which we hit on all of them, but if you want updates, make sure you go to fantasylife.com and subscribe to that newsletter in your inbox 7 days a week, 100% free. We do great write-ups every single morning in your inbox, and just make sure you have all the need to know news before you set those fantasy lineups. Now going over to X to answer some of these questions here, Adam. A lot of Monday Night Miracles. So let's see what we can do here. I see MJ sent us in. Need a Monday Miracle. Thanks to Burrow's performance, only up 8 with no one left, going against DK and Boswell non-PPR. Because
Yes.
the DK game from last week.
Start preparing for your fantasy baseball draft.
Right, you think? Yeah.
Well, it is DK, so DK could get like 30 yards, give you 3.
Yeah.
Then Boswell, though. So
Boswell's the one that DK Metcalf. I still stand by. I mean, that's been disappointing. I mean, you've seen games where he's gotten under 6-9 fantasy points. It's all right.
yeah, so last week was the first big game we've seen in a while. Just his second 100-yard game of the season, and his first game this year where he's had double-digit targets. Like, why is it taking until this late in the season to go? You know what? Let's target the big guy consistently downfield.
What a concept. The guy we paid
So
for.
I don't know what they've been doing all year. But yeah, like you said, non PPR, right?
Non-PPR.
So yeah, if you look at non PPR before last week, he's had 3.2, 2.2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, wait, one of those games, the 2.2, he had a rushing touchdown, so that was more, and then 4.9, 3.5. So yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you get one of those Metcalf games, but then you need Boswell to avoid the field goals.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I am curious, and we're going to be breaking this game down. If that was the turn for DK Metcalf last week, like if they're just going to continue 12 targets in that game against, I understand it was against Baltimore and their defense, but 7 receptions, 148. Yeah, it looked good for 21 fantasy points. So I'd be a little bit, yeah, you were kind of meaner about it. You said get ready for your fantasy baseball drafts. I'll just say maybe prepare to lose. Maybe prepare to not be as happy after this game. I see one here from Sean. PPR 13-point lead. He has DK Metcalf facing Etienne and Fryermuth.
Anytime I see HN on my
yeah,
opponent's team, I don't care what the lead is, I'm scared because
yeah.
he can he did have those rib injuries. He's off the injury report, but he is just so explosive, and he's just the centerpiece of the offense. They just don't pass much, and when they do, it's to him. So, yeah, I'd be very, very worried. But for some reason, though, I mean, he got injured the last game. I think he left in the second quarter.
Yeah.
He had 1 target, but the week before he had 1 target in the entire game. So that's very weird. That's very shady. But like HN was about to go. He was going to go over 100 yards again, which would have been his 4th straight game of 100 yards. So, yeah, he's dynamic. He's averaging 5.8 yards per carry. He can get it done on the ground in the passing game. So, yeah, I'm always worried because HN could put up 30, 40 points easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's scary. Let's just say that. The last one here from Kevin Brooks, and then we're gonna continue taking your questions here. But moving on from the water cooler, player that destroyed my fantasy playoff run was Lamar Jackson. He was the reason that I fell to 3rd place the final few weeks of the regular season. And then he said I benched Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, that's brutal. Lamar Jackson, for what it's worth, I know that he's always been inside the top 10 conversation because it's Lamar Jackson. He's dynamic. It's what he brings on the ground. It's the potential, right? It's the heights that he can bring you in the fantasy playoffs and just fantasy games in general this season that we say, well, it's hard to put him outside the top 12, but he has been one that has absolutely been a killer to your fantasy teams. I can totally understand that.
I definitely has, and this is the unfortunate part. Like when you draft the quarterback so early, and then they come back, you feel inclined. Well, I have to put him out there, and you also the name. It's Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
You know he can turn it around. Now, to be fair, he hasn't been helped. There's been offensive pass interference for Zay Flowers taking a touchdown away, likely a couple of times, whether it was, is that a catch or not a catch, or him losing the ball at the one. So there's been some scenarios, but we all see it. We can watch. He's not the same. He's clearly impacted by injury and trying to fight through it. This was a week, again, where game script just didn't go his way. 37 plays running the ball for 20 minutes. Nobody's going to have success when that is all you get.
Yeah, I agree. That's been disappointing to say the least with Lamar Jackson, but at least he gave you a better week, we can say, this week. I see an update here from Tom Pelissero. Jaylen Warren woke up sick and is getting fluids. I'm told he's optimistic about playing tonight. There you go. You just need an emergency, a liquid IV. You know, those things are pretty good, right? Oh, you need a McDonald's breakfast sandwich, right? That'll help you. No, not you. We're talking about Jaylen Warren.
Oh, that's what
That'll
he needs?
help.
Wait,
Yeah,
where did
right?
that come from?
What do you mean?
Like, how did that just enter your mind? He needs
I
a
don't know.
McDonald's sandwich.
Doesn't that sound good? I'm thinking if he needs fluids, he needs a really nice hearty meal.
Okay. Like, what are you,
Hashtag
Chad
not an ad.
Ochocinco or something? You've been hanging out with him?
I mean, look at what Ochocinco did, though.
I mean, he loves McDonald's.
Listen, I'm not opposed to a McDonald's breakfast sandwich. I know you probably don't eat those. The what are those called? Sausage, egg, McMuffins.
Yeah,
sorry.
I've had them. They're okay, but it's not something
They're
that I go,
okay.
well, you know, I'm sick. What do I need to feel better?
I have zero idea why that popped into my mind.
That's what you want for breakfast, I see.
No, absolutely not. Well,
Okay.
actually, I'm, again, not opposed to it. I have no idea. It's a Monday. I have no idea why I said that, but maybe I'll tweet at Jaylen Warren and say, go get that breakfast sandwich and get those fluids and be ready to go. We're definitely moving on. It's time for the best around presented by Xfinity. The guys that definitely helped you reach new heights going into this weekend for week 15. We're going to break that down here coming up next. Oh, you heard it. They're the best around for week 15, presented here by Xfinity. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy, Xfinity. Imagine that. We're going through the best around players here, Adam, for fantasy football for week 15, the first start of the fantasy football playoffs. I'm getting a lot of comments about the McDonald's. I don't know. Sometimes, Adam,
Like, it just came out of nowhere, and I was just what? Like, you usually don't say things like that just out of nowhere that kind of are offbeat. And that one was like, we weren't talking about food, and like you just brought up a McDonald's breakfast sandwich.
Doesn't
I was
it
like,
sound
what?
good, though? Someone just said, Kendall, Jaylen is sick, not hungover. I get it. Okay, thank you. I get it. It's just
Well, we don't know that. He could be
no,
hungover.
stop. No, he's fine. No, he's fine. He's just got the sniffles or something, right?
I mean, this is the time of year where a lot of people are sick. It happens.
Yeah. Go get that breakfast sandwich. Hashtag not an ad. And you just figure out your life after that. That's hilarious. I have no idea. I appreciate everyone who's listening, though.
Add some hash browns and we're good.
Oh, the hash browns. See, you like the hash browns.
I love the hash browns.
Oh, so good. Those are like $4 now, though.
Insane.
I'll say that. It's just, it's a lot for a hash brown. Anyways, besides the best round being maybe a McDonald's breakfast sandwich, again, not an ad, but just wanted to throw it out there. Can we just really, Trey McBride, he's been the best around. Jacoby Brissett has, even in this tough matchup where you saw the Houston Texans, they were holding opposing tight ends to nothing. I mean, these guys weren't getting 40 yards on them. They weren't getting any fantasy points. McBride, though, said, I'm good, actually. I'm going to get a season high 37.4 points on Sunday. And again, this was against a top defense in the NFL. Got 12 of, was it 13 targets? I thought it was 14. 12 of 13 targets here for him. And it was amazing. 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he's just automatic. You don't have to worry about Trey McBride. It feels like you don't have to worry about the matchups. He's just going to go out there and get you fantasy points, and you love that.
Yeah, he's top 10 overall in the rankings. If you're doing rankings the rest of the way, he's been one of the most consistent players in fantasy. His worst game this year in PPR is 9.1. We could blame that on Kyler Murray because was Kyler Murray game. But yeah, he's money every week. I mean, he's on a historic pace. He's got 105 catches, 1,071 yards, 10 touchdowns, 140 targets, and still has 3 games left. He's been phenomenal, and he was a guy that I wanted in the 3rd round. I typically don't like taking the tight ends early, but I felt this year that 3rd round I didn't love anyone. So I do have him in a couple leagues, but not enough. Definitely not enough. And yeah, you can make a case. I know no one will, but when you do like fantasy MVPs, he's in the conversation.
We could make a case. We could say that.
right?
I would. I
I
mean,
think he is.
it,
I think he's
it
in the conversation. I mean, look, some of these running backs have had ridiculous years.
mhm.
You know,
But I mean, based on where he was going too, it's not like you guys let me get him in the GST going into what was that, the fourth
on the
round?
3-4 turn,
Three,
which
four turn.
again, I
I
thought I
know. I'm
told you at the
mad about
time
it.
that you stole him because we did a draft together, that charity draft. We took him early round 3. I said
Mhm.
we got to get McBride.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been one. He's just been so consistent. And like you said, the down games were Kyler Murray in the early season, and you were still getting, 13, 15, 12, 9. But since then, it's just been, you expect 20. You expect 20 plus from Trey McBride, and that's what he's been able to give you. He also was out there and, setting records. So when you look at this, he now has where did it go? He matched Travis Kelce. Here it is. Set a new NFL record as the first tight end with back-to-back 100-catch seasons. So he joins Kelce as the only tight ends in history with at least 100 catches in multiple seasons. So that's just another thing. Trey McBride, automatic. You don't have to worry about him.
I think you're going to see
Best
a lot
around.
of teams this year win championships with McBride.
Yeah. If we go to right now, if we said, okay, the playoffs ended today and we looked at championship teams, yeah, I agree. He's going to be on most of them. I would
I
say JSN, but man, I don't know. This past week,
He had
I think
18.3 this week.
I know. But I'm saying JSN is one where I think you go back and forth, and he might be the one that's on most, if not all, of those teams.
Okay,
Besides
yeah,
Trey McBride, because I was
yeah.
gonna say Jameer Gibbs too, but I don't know. He's had some down weeks
He
where
really
he might
has.
have hurt you and helped you, have an early exit this week. To be honest,
Stafford's got to be up there. I mean, that was a guy that you got off the
yeah,
waiver wire. Taylor's really slowed down. I mean,
he has.
Puka's looks like he could have a really strong finish. I mean, the last 2 weeks,
Mhm.
35.7 and 27.1. But
Yeah.
he did miss some time and had a stretch where he wasn't dominant.
Amon-Ra St. Brown missed time as well, but he
Missed
was
one
one of the
game. Well,
yeah,
no, he went out on the first drive and got a
yes.
0. So that you know what? See, like that, to me, you should take that out of his average, right? I don't think the
I
sites do it,
agree.
but
I
I
think
think you
it's
should.
difficult. I know. I think it's difficult to get that done. He's had solid games. So you've seen, against Philly, those 6 fantasy points. This past week though, yesterday I should say, he was one of the best around because he was able to just get it done for the Lions. I know we're not talking and saying the best things with Jameer Gibbs, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, oh my goodness, 41.4 fantasy points, 18 targets, Adam. 18 targets in this game, 164 yards caught, 13 of them, and then 2 touchdowns. So that'll get it done for you. He was the best around, one of the best around yesterday. We had some really good performances yesterday.
Yeah, St. Brown just gets it done every year. I think there
Yeah.
might have been some people who thought that maybe it could change this year with all the weapons, and he's going to go on to have probably a better year than last year. He's going to have more targets than last year. He might come close to his career high, which was 164 in 2023. But yeah, if you just look at what he's done, you just pencil him in for, over 100 receptions, 1,300 yards, and double-digit touchdowns every year. That's just who he's
Yep.
been. And still just 26 years old.
Yeah. Is he 26?
Yeah.
Really?
Hmm.
Wow. When's his birthday?
I already saw it.
Dang it. Can I guess then? I
Yeah.
never get to guess. June 11th.
No, October 24th.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah,
Right?
very close.
I was super close. No need to worry about it. The other one I wanted to mention was Travion Henderson as the best around, at least in this game. I mean, we had the conversation. What's it going to look like? What's the split going to look like? Hey, looking at Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, 30 fantasy points though, Adam, in this game. He had 14 carries, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions as well, 3 targets there, 13 yards, but he got it done. And it was nice to see as a Travion Henderson manager. And yeah, this was a split you wanted to see, and he definitely showed up.
It's still not what you want. Stevenson
I
pretty much
know.
got all the carries on the first drive and looked good, and you're like, oh no. And Stevenson played 67% of the snaps, Henderson 48%. But this is why we keep saying, and I know people are going to be like, oh, it's fantasy, you just care about that. But from a Patriots perspective, too, you're trying to win games. You don't have a lot of explosive players on the field. Henderson is one of those guys. And you saw it on that run where he went to his right. It should have been tackled for a loss, cut the other way, and then scores on a touchdown for 65 yards. So That's why he needs to touch the ball more. I mean, again, Stevens is still solid, but he's not breaking those long plays like that. And they don't really have those players in this offense. And boy, that was hilarious. Did you see all the victory laps at halftime on the Patriots winning the division?
Yes, that was crazy.
Ooh, so many. 24-7 at the half.
Yeah,
It's
not
over,
good.
this and that.
Not
And
good.
never do that. I don't care what it is, whether it's
Mhm.
fantasy, a bet, never celebrate early. It backfires most of the time.
Just look at them now.
Oh yeah. So
35-31 loss
Bills
to the
stay
Bills.
alive
Yeah.
there, and Patriots a young team, and they just didn't respond. They got outscored
Yeah.
28-7 in the second half, but they got to get the ball to Henderson more. And look, if you have him in fantasy, you're starting him these 2 weeks, right? You're just going to start him, and you hope that the Patriots come to their senses because they need to win games. They need to lock up the division.
Yep.
They're at Baltimore on Sunday night, and then at the Jets. So
Which
that
we
Jets
love.
game,
That's a great schedule. He could be a league winner. Football fantasy playoff league winner. Travion
it
Henderson.
could be. I mean, look,
That has a nice ring to it.
the first start of the playoffs, he had a big week again.
Mhm.
It didn't look good there for a while, but they
Let's see.
got to get the ball in his hands. We've
I
been
agree.
saying it all season, and it took them a long time and a couple of injuries to get there. But Stevenson, again, did play more, but at least Henderson had 16 touches.
Yep, I agree 100%. We need to see that happening here. Again, that was the best around presented by Xfinity. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy Xfinity, imagine that. Let's talk with Jonathan Von Tobel here, on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. We're breaking down the Monday Night Football game, looking ahead to Week 16 as well. We're going to do that here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Overreaction Monday. It's time to turn now to Monday Night Football. And who better to break that down than Jonathan Von Tobel here, on our host and betting analyst over at VSiN. You can find him on Money Moves, Countdown to Kickoff, and Live Bet Sunday. Jonathan, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I would rather be taken out, like when we die, right? We talk about this all the time. Like, how would you like to die peacefully in your sleep? Not constantly bludgeoned over the head multiple times, like I'm watching the Colts do on a week-to-week basis. So outside of that, it's going pretty well.
So it sounds like you're just fine. That feels
Yeah.
like a Colts fans all over. Just, they're doing fine here. We can. I have nothing good to say. I root for the Seahawks. That was not their best performance. I was
No.
actually quite nervous about it. So we can just go right past that here. Miami Dolphins taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not as many fantasy implications for us. There's still a handful, right? You've got Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf. There's some on both sides here. But what's your overall outlook on this game? Miami Dolphins traveling to Pittsburgh here. They're underdogs in this one, total sitting at 42.5. What do you like?
I lean a little bit sidewise toward Miami. It's not like anything strong, I think, enough to play here, but obviously the Dolphins have been playing a little bit better. 5-1 straight up, 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 games. Tua has improved a little bit. If you look at some of his numbers, yards per attempt up to 7.2 over this stretch. Touchdown interception ratio has improved. I think the thing that kind of makes me a little squeamish, his turnover worthy play rate has actually been worse over these last 6 games, and yet he is kind of getting away with that. And I don't know if that expires maybe at some point, whether it's tonight or moving forward for the season. But he's been being pressured less, and now you're talking about a Steelers team that doesn't have TJ Watt out there, and I think that's going to kind of help him out. I just don't really know. You hear, I think, the trepidation in my voice, because the other side of this is I don't know what I'm getting from Pittsburgh on offense. I mean, we went like 3 games where Aaron Rodgers was abysmal to last time we saw him against Baltimore. He went 4 for 4 on throws of 20 more yards downfield and was generating explosives, and the offense looked a lot different. I think, to me, getting a field goal with Miami against a team that I think is pretty even with what this Pittsburgh squad is the side. But I think rightfully so. This number's probably right where it should be. I think quibble with it, maybe 2.5 by my own numbers, but no big edge sidewise for me.
Jalen Warren was added to the injury report with an illness. Can you do anything with his props or Kenneth Gainwell when you see that? Or are there any other props that stand out for you in this one?
Yeah, so neither of them, at least in terms of Warren, it didn't stick out to me. I guess one of the things that I talked to my buddy Will Hill about, is one of our guys over at VSiN, is if you like an angle but a guy is questionable or whatever it is, you can play those and get refunded essentially if the guy doesn't play. So there's like kind of not a free space, but you can at least give it a shot. And if he doesn't end up going, you're going to be fine. The guy that stuck out to me was Etienne here for Miami. I mean, if you look at what he's done, you talk about this turnaround here. One of the things that has been great for the Dolphins has been him. Since week 8, he's rushed for over 650 250 yards. He's averaging 6.3 yards per attempt. Yards per attempt after contact are up for him as well. And to me, the big one was the explosive run rate. Weeks 1 through 7, 13.5%. Last 6 games, 22.1%. So these runs are going for more. And the Steelers defensively, as we know, like they're not really great by any rushing defensive metric. Best one out of the key categories, at least that I use, second level yards per carry. They're 17th in the NFL. So looking at Etienne to have a big day today, I think when I've been on with you guys, and this is something I'm betting more, a lot of these longest rush or longest reception props, longest rush, 18.5, minus 105 to the over. That seems like a lot, but a guy who over the last 6 weeks is getting a run of 10 or more yards 22% of the time against the Steelers defense that doesn't really defend the run particularly well. I think that's something worth looking at here for Etienne today, over 18.5 longest rush.
Again, talking with Jonathan Von Tobel. Looking ahead, now we go over to week 16. Yep. As a Seahawks fan, I won't bring it up, but Seattle, Los Angeles Rams are banged up there on Thursday night. I think they were underdogs early, but then that line obviously shifted too. And I saw whenever you want to answer this one too, Jonathan, someone actually mentioned and asked a question about your thoughts on the Chicago Bears being underdogs at home on the money line, if that's something that stands out to you.
Yeah, so I think first off, the Seattle game is obviously fascinating, right, for many different reasons. I mean, a game of this magnitude being forced to be played on Thursday in a short week is absolutely incredible. And what's going on with your team's offense, Kendall? I mean, this thing's been hit or miss. Outside of the second half against Atlanta, they really have done nothing. It's kind of surprising how disjointed it's looked. I think the Rams deserve to be favored here on the road, but then you hear me pause because I was like, man, I don't think the other aspects of this team are really that different from L.A. As far as Chicago goes, look, these are two teams that I despise right now, Green Bay and Chicago. For the Bears, look, I will fully admit I've been taking my shots against Chicago, and I've only landed one of those blows. The rest of them have been losses. I'm looking at a team that, if you just look at their profile, probably shouldn't be where they're at from a record standpoint, but they continue to deliver. And for Green Bay, I mean, every single week it seems there's some sort of disappointing result. And now, of course, Parsons is injured, is not going to be available to get after Caleb Williams here. The Bears continue to get it done. And I think Green Bay has kind of proven here that they're going to be a team that's overvalued. But having said all of that, I will point out that Green Bay just closed as a 1-point favorite in Denver, and now this is opening up as 1.5 for Green Bay and Chicago. Would you believe that these two teams, Chicago and Denver, are equals to one another? I'd say probably not. So there has been some sort of a downgrade for Green Bay. The question you have to ask is it enough? Is it warranted? And I would lean toward no. So for me, it would be Green Bay or pass.
In a battle of a division that no one wants to win, Carolina is 3-point home underdogs to Tampa Bay. Carolina's been a really difficult team to figure out. They look good one week. They look terrible the next week. Do you have any feel on this game?
I mean, it's just don't bet them when they're favored, right? So we can go back to the well
12
here.
in a row.
This is what we can do here. It is incredible that the fact that they just can't deliver in these moments. But I feel like in this role, it is a little bit better. I mean, especially if you're catching a full 3 once it gets there, you can run the ball. You are relatively effective in the role of home underdog. You talk about these trends and roles, like you said, Adam, like they've lost these 12 straight as favorites, but as a home underdog, they have thrived in that role. Especially over the last couple of years. We can go back to last year with Bryce Young in this era. And Tampa Bay is a team that I don't really trust. So, like you said, in a division matchup of a bunch of teams that I think are very bad, I'll take my shot with grabbing 3 in a team that has handled that role much better than I would with asking the Buccaneers to cover a key number on the road.
All right, Jonathan, last one before we let you go. I'm just curious of your thoughts on Jacksonville. We've been talking about them all day because it was a terrible Jets defense. They fired their defensive coordinator after this Week 15 matchup. They're on the road at Denver, who hasn't lost at home. They're 7-0 at home. But do you think that we've seen a turnaround with Trevor Lawrence where they could actually keep up with Denver, or is this one you just want to stay away from? A little bit of a trap.
I think you kind of can, right? I mean, so Lawrence, these last 2 games have been absolutely incredible. When you're looking at it, you can stretch it out to the last 3, including the Tennessee game. Like, he's been awesome. But to me, I think the big thing for Jacksonville is their defense is slowly ascended and quietly ascended to like a top 5 team across the board in many different metrics. And I sent this in. We're going to talk about this today. I'm sure you guys have hit this. Look, if Bo Nix plays like that the rest of the year, they're probably going to win a Super Bowl. But do we trust that he can? This is going to be a great defense that he's going to go up against. And I think we revert back to form here a little bit for Denver. I think I'm going to go with Jacksonville here. If you're catching 3 with this team, this defense, and the way that he's playing, and at least we saw Jordan Love generated some explosives against this Denver defense. If they can actually score in the red zone to 7s instead of 3s, maybe they win that game against Denver. I think Jacksonville is riding kind of high, and they're sleeping this whole time. Texans are considered the highest power-rated team in the AFC South, not Jacksonville, despite them being more consistent, and I think they're being a little undervalued.
Oh, I love that. Jonathan, always a pleasure to talk to you on these Mondays. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yep, good to talk to you guys. Thank you very much.
All right, there he goes. Jonathan Von Tobel, again, on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. You can find him on Money Moves, Countdown to Kickoff, and Live Bet Sunday. So make sure you go give him a follow as well on X. We're going to continue on, Adam. We've got Monday Night Football that we have to break down. It's going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. Still a handful of fantasy-relevant players that we're going to break down as well. We're going to do that here coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Monday. Hopefully all your Monday Night Miracles come true and you get those wins in the fantasy football playoffs for the first week. We've got one game left here, Adam. The Miami Dolphins on the road going and playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's got to be cold over there. Maybe that's why Warren is a little bit sick. It's chilly.
Of course, yeah.
He didn't bring his jacket.
Yeah, well, I mean, he should be used to the weather. It's in Pittsburgh, so.
Exactly.
But then
He
again,
just
this is
he just got used to,
the time of year when a lot of people get sick, right? Because you have the weather shifting, and there's been snow here on the East Coast and some real cold temperatures. But my guess is you'll see Warren go out there and play. But
just get a jacket on. He's gonna be fine.
yeah, the day
You're right, he
of
should be
though
used to
being added to the injury report,
You don't love it.
yeah,
He said
Matt-
he's optimistic.
they're all optimistic.
Well, get him McDonald's breakfast sandwich and you're going to be fine. The fluids and he's going to be good to go. This is an interesting, I will say this is an interesting matchup. I kind of want to start on with the Dolphins, right? Because we've talked about Etienne and how he's really automatic, right? I mean, he has been a key part of and they're winning too, Adam. This Dolphins team is not giving up. They beat the Jets, which I know it's the Jets, but still, they took down the Commanders. They've taken down the Saints. They took down the Bills. So they're on this 4-game win streak, and they're not giving up. So Etienne is obviously a huge part of that for them. He has 100+ scrimmage yards in each of the last 5 games for Miami. And Jalen Waddle, I mean, he's averaged 14.3 fantasy points per game since we saw, I should say, Tyreek Hill go down with that season-ending injury. That feels like forever ago, but he's been a high-end wide receiver too since then. So you've got a couple of good guys here that if they can get rolling and they want to play spoiler, which it feels like they do, you've got two key matchups right there.
Yeah, and also no TJ Watt for Pittsburgh, and we've seen they are just not the same without him. And look, we know what Miami's going to do. They're just going to run the ball. They're going to drain time off the clock, not make mistakes. And, again, with Etienne running so well, it's amazing the turnaround this team has had. Remember, everyone wanted McDaniel fired, right?
They had a team meeting, a players-only meeting after week 1. We forget that. How quickly we forget.
I mean, they were 1-6.
Yes.
1-6, and it looked like, all right,
They're
this
not
is going to be
giving
a
up.
brutal finish to the season, and they've won 5 out of 6.
They
I mean,
they have a 1% chance to make the playoffs, but it's there.
yeah, I mean, look, they've beaten some bad teams. They did beat the Bills 30-13, though. That was impressive. But the recent victories, Commanders, Saints, and Jets, but they've won some of those, in convincing fashion. So they've really turned it around, and it's a big game for the Pittsburgh as well. They're trying to hold on to the division lead. If they lose, they're tied with Baltimore. But Pittsburgh beat them, and then they face each other again. Oh, no, they don't. They're done with each other, Steelers, Ravens, right?
And
no, I think they might have one more, right?
hang on, let me look.
I thought
You're
they did.
testing my. I don't know. You can look.
Yeah, they do. Last week of the season.
I was like, I did not have this in front of me. Oh, week 18. Yes.
Yeah, so there's still a chance for that game to be massive. But yeah, Miami's playing a lot better. Etienne off the injury report, so you feel good about that as he had the rib injury last week. And yeah, he's just rolling right now. They're running the ball very well. And Waddle does have a tough matchup here going up against Porter, but he's been the main guy for them. And they got Waller, even Dulcich been involved a little bit too.
I think the big question too is the Rodgers Metcalf connection clicking? Like, have we seen? And that's it. Have we seen the turn? And I lean on the side of caution where I say no, because we have seen not as big of a game as we saw last week, right? That was the biggest game we've had from DK Metcalf this season. It got close, right? He had a big game against Minnesota week 4, 126 yards, but you saw 148, the most targets of the season as well, sitting at 12 against Baltimore, 21.8 fantasy points. Does he do it again against Miami, do you think?
I would lean no. if you're asking me, because again, I just got to go based on what we've seen this season. He had a target on 36% of his routes last week, and the average for the season is 20.4. So we obviously know watching them that Metcalf should get the ball more, but we've known this all year and they don't do it. And Miami's been really good defensively. And again, the other factor is Miami will take a lot of time off the clock with their drives if they are running the ball effectively. And Pittsburgh also plays at a very slow pace. So, I can't have confidence in Metcalf.
I can't either. I've got a question here from Dakota, down 17 in a PPR. He's done. I have Gainwell and Tua. Gainwell and Tua for 17.
Is that Dak Prescott asking that?
What are you talking?
It's Dakota,
You're
right?
so annoying. No, it's our.
But look, Tua never puts up massive numbers. That's the problem. Like, he has one
10
touchdown.
12.
Yeah,
You're good.
you need Tua to get one touchdown pass, which he's only done once in the last 3 games. He's been held under 200 passing yards in 4 straight games. Look at his pass attempts. 21, 20, 23, 21. And they're winning. They've won all 4 games like that. So the formula is clear. They're going to run the ball a lot. They're not going to ask Tua to make many mistakes. So, yeah, because I've been eyeing his passing attempts unders every week.
Who are you taking tonight?
Miami.
Oh, I am too. There we go. We'll see if they can do a play spoiler here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. What a great fun show as always. We'll be back same time here tomorrow.